Hello, boys and girls. Let's continue with the story, Seeds of Change, please. If you can go to page 282 and 283. And let's look at the illustrations, boys and girls. I see Wangari here. She's with a man, a boy, and they're standing in water. They're in water, maybe a little river or stream. And I love how the illustrator did all the swirls. That looks pretty. And the animals that I see here in the water is a frog and fish. And these are tadpoles. They're baby frogs. And okay, let's start reading, boys and girls. Each year, the mugumo grew, and so did Wangari. As the oldest girl in her family, she had many chores. Every day she fetched water, clear and sweet, from the river. In the rainy season, she planted sweet potatoes, millet, and beans. When the sun shone brightly in the dry season, she shooed the chickens into the shade. Sometimes when her brother Nderitu returned from school, he and Wangari played among the arrowroot plants by the stream, where thousands of eggs hatched into tadpoles and tadpoles turned into frogs. During those times, Nderitu told Wangari what he had learned in his classes. Plants give air for people to breathe, he said. 20 divided by 2 is 10. There are 7 great seas to sail. Wangari listened as still as a tree, but her mind swirled with curiosity like the current in the stream. Even though she knew few Kikuyu girls who could read, Wangari dreamed of going to school and learning just like her brother. I must go to school, she told him. You will, he promised. Nderitu talked to their parents. Why doesn't Wangari go to school? He asked. Okay, boys and girls, let's talk about what we just read. And the mugumo, remember, boys and girls, in the previous page is that big tree. The one that the ones that the Kikuyu tribe people of Kenya think that their ancestors rest in the shade of that big tree. Okay. So what we learn in this page, boys and girls, is that time is passing. Each year the mugumo grew, and so did Wangari. So Wangari, she's getting older. Okay. And we also found out that she is the oldest girl in her family, and she has many chores. Okay. Maybe you can relate, boys and girls. Maybe you have chores that you have to do around the house. Maybe your chores, think about the chores that you have to do around your house. Maybe your chores consist of taking out the trash, washing the dishes, walking your dog, maybe folding towels. But for her, Wangari, her chores are different. She has to go fetch water from the river, boys and girls. So that lets me know that that she doesn't have like a faucet with running water. She has to go collect water from the river. Okay. And when it's rainy season, she has to plant different vegetables. Okay. Millet. Let's go see what millet looks like, boys and girls. This is millet. So this is one of the things that she is responsible for planting, boys and girls. And remember, what does that look like, guys? It looks like seeds, right? It looks like seeds. And that makes me think of the title, Seeds of Change. Maybe. Let's go back. Okay. So, and when the sun shone brightly, she had to shoot the chickens into the shade. So if it's very hot outside, she made sure the chickens were in the shade and stay nice and fresh and cool. Okay, and we also, this this young man here, we learned, turned out to be her brother. That is the relationship between these two people, brother and sister, and when he would return from school. And so they would hang out, they would play by this river when he would come home from school. And he would tell her about what he would learn at school. And she loved it, boys and girls. What does the text, what can you find the text evidence that proves that she loved hearing about what he learned at school, boys and girls? Can you find some text evidence that proves that? I'll give you a little bit of a time. Okay, if you said that one to prove that she really enjoyed, hearing about school, it said here, Wangari listened as still as a tree, but her mind swirled with curiosity like the current in the stream. So when her brother would talk about school, she would listen as still as a tree. So what do you see, boys and girls, when we read that? Give you a minute, a couple of seconds to think about it. Okay, what I envision, what I see is she's just focused on him. She's not moving. She's not wiggling. She's not jumping up and down. She is just listening to her brother talk about school. And I even see her maybe just standing there, just staring him, not even blinking, her mouth open, just in awe about him talking about school. And boys and girls, the statement, Wangari listened as still as a tree, boys and girls, who can remember what figurative language is represented here? As still as a tree. Does anyone remember? I'll give you a second to think. Okay, boys and girls, if you said figurative language and specifically a simile, they're comparing the way she is standing, the way she's listening to a tree, still, not moving. Okay, and her mind swirled with curiosity, like the current in the stream. Because of the word "like" here, they're comparing her mind swirling to the current in the stream. So I go back to this illustration here. So you see these swirls in the water in the stream. I'm supposed to imagine that is happening inside her brain. All this ideas, curiosity just swirling in her brain, in her head. And boys and girls, because of the word "like," again, they're comparing. That is also another example of figurative language. And who remembers which figurative language uses the word "like" to compare? If you said simile, boys and girls, good job in remembering. This is another simile. Okay. And what I learned was that not many of the girls, the Kikuyu girls, learn to read. And she really wants to go to school just like her brother, and she wants to learn like her brother, but unfortunately, the Kikuyu girls, maybe they're not allowed to go to school or they don't have permission, but even her brother thinks that she should go to school, and he made her a promise. He told her, "You will." And he even asked their parents, "Why doesn't Wangari go to school?" And that makes me wonder, what does that make you think, boys and girls? Why do you think she's not going to school? Do you have some ideas? Think about it, boys and girls. What do you think? Okay, some thoughts that are coming to my mind are maybe this is the time where only boys went to school, that girls weren't allowed to go to school, or maybe school at their place where they live, they have to pay for school, and maybe they can't afford to send her. Maybe that's why they're only sending one child, the brother. I'm not sure why, but I'm sure we continue reading, boys and girls, we'll find out. Thank you, boys and girls.